We would like to acknowledge that this podcast was recorded on the lands of the Wurundjeri and Boonwurrung people of the Kulin Nation. We value their cultures, identities, and continuing connection to country, waters, kin, and community. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. It was 2007, the year of the pig, as it were. In politics, we had Kevin 07 with Kevin Rudd ending 15 years of John Howard. Obama was right around the corner in the US, and Gordon Brown became the new Prime Minister in the UK. The final Harry Potter book was published. Steve Jobs just announced the iPhone. Beyonce, Nelly Furtado, and Justin Timberlake were heading up the charts. Rihanna releasing Umbrella that year. YouTube was only in its second year of existence. Twitter was only a year old. We had at least 2 years away from Instagram being a thing. Kylie Jenner was 10. Greta Thunberg was 4. This was 2007. 2007 also gave us 2 masterpieces, James. 2 cinema masterpieces. One, a dark, uncomfortable insight into the birth of capitalism at the turn of the 20th century in America. The other one's struggle with memory loss in the face of impending danger, not knowing who they can trust as chaos rains down around them. This is 2007. This is There Will Be Blood. This is Codename the Cleaner, and that's popcorn.
Yeah, what he said.
Their behavior's not good.
Remember to stop you now, right there, because
I think you can say bad film.
One lamb kebab.
I've abandoned my child!
Now, give me money.
So tell me, who sent you?
Ooh.
Now it's off.
Both survivors.
I thought you were real.
Son of a bitch!
Ask me.
That's popcorn.
That's popcorn. So that's the type of thing I was thinking of doing, and it's the type of thing I did do. But
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did.
Is that are you into that?
It is on popcorn brand.
This is on popcorn brand.
It's on popcorn brand. I didn't know so much happened in 2007. I didn't know the iPhone was so young.
Yeah, scary, hey?
Yeah, but I mean, I guess that's quite a few years ago now.
It's also weird to think that the iPhone, like Twitter, started before the iPhone. So there was this period of time where people were just tweeting on computers. You would go to like what are they called? Like an internet cafe and be like, I'm at the internet cafe.
Well, interesting fact, it actually started with birds. So you would tie your message to a pigeon and say, off you go, tweet this. And then it would go into the internet.
Yeah, it would go in. It was actually started in like the 15th century with like Henry VIII was like, oh, the other people are sad. And then he attaches it to like a bird leg and throws it out his window.
And that's it. And people didn't even have like phones or internet. So to read a tweet, you just had to hope that you saw the bird at the right time as it flew past. It's like, did you read that?
People don't understand. The kids these days don't understand what it was like. They don't get
what we had to go through.
What Twitter was like. This is pre the upgrade from 120 to 240 characters. This is dead birds out of windows. You have to be in the right time, the right place. That was the Twitter that we grew up because we're 500 years old.
Yeah. And to retweet something, you had to tie a bird to another bird.
Yes.
So there were just these trails of birds.
Otherwise, you're not giving credit to the first bird.
That's right. You're stealing someone's original tweet. It wasn't cool now. It wasn't cool then.
Anyway, that's the flawless intro to That's Popcorn. I'm Richard. Who are you?
I'm Milkshake Boy James this week.
That's Milkshake Boy James. Each episode, we look at 2 films from a year, 1 year, one being a incredibly loved, critically loved film, an audience loved film, and the other being a hot pile of trash.
Steaming.
And this week or whatever, let's not commit to doing it weekly. This episode, we're looking at There Will Be Blood and Codename the Cleaner. James.
Yes.
Codename the Cleaner.
Everybody thought Jake Rogers was an ordinary guy until the day he woke up with no clue what happened.
I woke up next to a dead FBI agent. What is your name?
No chance for survival.
I'm gonna die.
And no idea who he is.
I am Special Ops.
Try Special Mops. You're a janitor. Room Raider.
This January,
I'm a federal agent, Jake.
I'll tell you what I'm
Whoa! You must be a support level agent assigned to assist me.
Get out! Hang on! Get down! I gotta take you someplace safe.
I believe I'm there right now.
How do you solve a murder?
I'm some kind of Black Rambo.
Okay, Blambo.
When the only witness has lost his mind?
I'm undercover.
You're Dutch.
You have never heard of Dutch chocolate? Ricola!
New Line Cinema presents, in association with Film Engine,
KG, light 'em up. All the ladies got you going crazy.
I know you guys, right?
Oh, don't play dumb, Jake.
You're not playing. Look at his face. Tell me about Jake Rogers.
So you gonna shoot me? That's what I've been waiting on. If I die, I'm Tupac. If I live, I'm 50 Cent. Shoot me in my side, like right here. You like shoot a piece of fat off.
Cedric the Entertainer, Lucy Liu, and Nicolette Sheridan.
I can't believe you don't remember your own wife.
Married? To a white woman? Am I Lionel Richie?
Codename the Cleaner.
There's some serious super spy stuff going on. You giving me a signal?
Maybe. You hot bun 69?
What?
I'm sweaty and ready from the chat room.
Oh, hell no.
Do you want to tell me a bit about that film?
Look, I can tell you what I understood, because the first thing I noticed was that I got lost in the plot very early, and I'm like, oh, this'll clear up, and it didn't. So the whole idea of Codename the Cleaner is a man who wakes up in a bed next to a dead FBI agent and has no idea who he is or how he got there, and then stumbles around for 90 minutes trying to work out everything that's gone on. And somehow a man who had amnesia managed to work it out, whereas I didn't, and I have memory like an elephant.
It's a bizarre film in the sense that I felt like I wasn't paying enough attention at the start of it. Like I was like, this will be easy. This will be an easy film to follow. And then all of a sudden there's like, he's working at a video game agency and there's some chip that he needs to get that is, actually, I don't even remember the purpose of the chip.
I don't understand the chip. Like, it was something that the video game company was creating, but the CIA wanted it for weapons. I don't know. I think 2007, and I've seen this in other TV series around the same time in other movies, microchips were like the thing. I was like, man, everyone needs these microchips. I'm like, why? Like,
But I was watching it, and like, admittedly, I'm a bit of a nerd, but like, I don't think there were any games in 2007 that had like chips in them. Like, we had passed the cartridge era. We were onto discs. Yeah. We were onto downloadable games. I think Xbox 360 came out in like 06 or 05 or something. So
and on top of that, if there was a game that had a chip, it looked a lot better than the games that were in this movie. Like, they were trash, and I'm like, this is the most dodgy looking game. Like, the characters in this stupid game, which you don't see much of, but when you do see it, like, the characters look so just hammily put together. And for me to try to imagine that this same company is making a chip that the CIA wants for weapons just is bonkers. Like,
I
I,
mean,
know
that's
they need a MacGuffin for every movie, but this one just made zero sense.
Yeah, and then they tied that game into his like amnesia, in a sense.
Yeah.
So I guess to give a bit more backstory to the film for the audience. So he's the main character is Jake, which is played by Cedric the Entertainer, and he wakes up as yes, in quotation. Well, he does actually have a scene where he becomes an entertainer as a. Anyway, we'll get to that.
What a scene it is!
What a scene it is. He wakes up in a hotel room, as you mentioned, next to a dead FBI agent. Has to discover, well, doesn't know who he is, and so has to piece pieces together. This is the same year that Bourne Ultimatum came out. The Bourne series is pretty much the same plot, but this film does nothing to like be a parody of Bourne. Like it's so confident that it's like, you know what, we're our own Amnesia story.
Yeah.
And not in a good way.
Yeah. At no point did it feel like a parody film.
No.
Even though it clearly was. It was like, this is a serious movie.
Yeah, well, none of the jokes are like about...
Funny?
None of the jokes are about like the tropes of Amnesia films. It's just about like, who's that woman? I want to sleep with her. Who's that woman? I want to sleep with her. Put it in my ass. Which is the end. Codename the cleaner, 5 stars. Yeah, because like, so he runs into this woman who says that she's his wife, and then goes back to what is meant to be his house in this story. Clearly not. Like, the audience is on board. This is clearly not the case. And then the wife tries to seduce him, like pretty much instantly.
Yeah, but that was to seduce him because seducing him cures amnesia, which was told to her by the doctor.
Right. That's right.
But so the doctor examines him. And so, like, I thought if you have, like, a head injury and get amnesia, you probably need, like, MRI or something, maybe some sort of X-ray, proper test. No, he just sits on the bed, and I think the doctor, like, puts one of those things to check his ear and goes, yep, you've got amnesia. And it'll probably fix itself in 5 days.
This is a nasty case of the amnesia.
Doctor. And then, and then tells his wife that to fix the amnesia, she needs to seduce him, which I'm game to give it a try.
Yeah. But also, like, it's kind of counterintuitive to what she wants. I mean, I know she wants to find the chip or whatever, but also if his amnesia goes away, then he will also learn that he is in fact not the husband.
I didn't even think of that.
And he has such a hang up about the fact that he owns pink underwear. Do you?
Yeah.
Towards it's probably the biggest plot point in this entire film, because it goes all the way through to the end, and he's like,
there's a joke at the end.
Yeah, and he's like, that's what you get for wearing pink underwear. And I'm like, what's the big deal?
Yeah, and the fact is, like, he walked into that big giant bathroom and sees a pair of underwear and goes, that's obviously mine. Like, he has no memory, but somehow remembers that it's his underwear and not perhaps his wife's or the butler. It could be anyone's pink underwear, but he's like, yep, that's mine.
That's my
and
favorite character in the entire film, that butler. Doesn't he almost get shot, and he just like, or something almost hits him and he like bows out of the way?
Golf ball almost hits him.
That's right.
Yeah. And he's never heard of Skittles.
This film is a 1.5 hour long ad for Skittles. I'm putting that on record. There should have been like Codename # sponsored Skittles the cleaner. Because he keeps going for it. He keeps loving the Skittles.
I mean, Skittles are good, but I mean, that's an interesting thing to hold on to. I mean, I don't know enough about amnesia. Maybe one of the things that really does stick with you is how much you love candy.
How much you love Skittles.
Yeah. That could be it. I also thought with the amnesia thing, like, she goes in to seduce him, and there's that really weird scene where, I don't know, I've been locked down by myself for a bit long, but I don't remember that's how seducing works, where two people just make weird noises at each other. Like there's always like Cedric the Entertainer is just squeaking. He's like, and it goes for like 2 minutes. I'm like, what is this?
It is long, isn't it?
It's just not. I don't get it. But look, that's not my business. How other people get seduced. But then it doesn't work. So the wife goes back to the doctor, and he says, "Also, we can just give him these drugs." And he was waiting outside the door. So I think he's just got like a weird thing where he's like, I'm going to tell this woman that she needs to seduce him. I'm going to sit outside the door and listen, and then I'm going to tell her the easier way.
He's actually the main villain of this entire film, is the doctor that doesn't know how amnesia works. Well, we skimmed past it, but it's actually not the first seducing scene in the film. The first seducing scene, which is a technical term, is actually in the lift as he's coming down.
Oh no! Yes,
with the grandmother, which I had. She might be a grandmother. I don't know. She's an older woman. Where he has a flashback to his supposedly like army days or whatever, secret agent days, and he's getting everyone on the helicopter. And as he does, he smacks them all in the ass. He's like, "Here we go, hoorah!" One after the other, and then he flashes back to the lift, and he's just like wailing away at this old woman. And then she turns around, looks at him, puts her finger to his lips, and she's like, "Shh!" Like walks off with a happy face. My biggest issue with this, and it's revealed later, so spoiler warning. Sorry if you're going to watch Codename the Cleaner. I'll preface this for every episode. Spoilers. We're not going to skirt around them.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about the films we're going to be talking about. Spoiler warning that supposes that in the video game that he has this personality from, there is specifically an action required where he has to smack his like soldiers on the ass.
Press F to smack the butt.
Which, I mean, like, it actually makes me want to play that game more, I guess. But
yeah,
that's just what
I mean. That's how they got the technology for the weapons, by coding the butt smacking algorithm.
Yeah, they were going to butt smack their way through national wars and international battles.
Yeah, then it was. I didn't like at all that
the film. There
was not one woman in that movie that he didn't have some sort of weird sexual interaction with.
Right, even the older woman in the lift. In fact, I think
older woman in the lift.
Is there only 3 women in this film?
I think there's the girls that he looks at when he's wearing Dutch clothes. And he goes,
of course.
And they go, ooh.
Should we go to the Dutch scene?
Yeah. I mean, it's the elephant in the room, isn't it?
So he's where is he when he's trying to do this? He's trying to break in somewhere, isn't he?
I think it's back at the hotel that he woke up in.
Right. And so his...
I can't even remember what led him there.
Yeah, look, whatever.
It's not really important. It's really just a way to get to this bizarre scene.
His espionage style is to grab a outfit of these like Dutch dancers that are there for a performance, apparently, and then join them. And of course, it's a comedy, so he ends up smack bang on stage and knows all the words and the actions that he needs to do.
All the moves. And I have questions about what happened to the guy whose space he was filling, because clearly if he wasn't there was meant to be somebody else doing his bit.
Maybe it's freestyle. It's freestyle Dutch dance. They don't have anything planned. They just know it so well. They're just like, an extra person.
Yep.
I don't know.
That could happen. I mean, I've been to Amsterdam and I didn't see that happening much. But I could be wrong, and Codename the Cleaner is more accurate about what happens.
But of course, not only does he just end up on stage, but he ends up smack bang in the center and is like the spotlight at the end. to
And-
what is I don't know if I'm remembering this correctly, but what is an underwhelming crowd? Like, I'm pretty sure it's not full.
It's bigger than I expected for what was a demo of Dutch dancing. I can't imagine what the audience is. I'm not sure what city this was based in, what city it was meant to be based in. I
What
know
year
where
it
it was
is?
filmed, but I've got no idea. And if this city has this big sort of Dutch population, it's like, yes, finally, we can we have our people. But the biggest thing, and this is my biggest hang up with the entire movie, is that none of it makes any sense. But there's that Dutch dancing scene, and then he goes back to his car and he's wearing normal clothes and drives off. And then the camera pans along to a garbage can which has the Dutch clothes in it that he was wearing. And I'm like, out of all the things in this film that don't make any sense and aren't explained, I'm very glad they told me what happened to the Dutch clothes.
They
Like,
got to close the loop there.
Yeah, like it literally like panned across and the music sort of went, and there's a pair of clogs in a bin.
It was a bit ominous, wasn't it? Wasn't it like?
Yeah, and I'm like,
what's the?
Oh,
clog?
this is going to come back. You know, that's going to be evidence, and never does.
Nope.
It's this explanatory moment.
Deleted scene,
just so people don't wonder what he did with the clothes he was wearing. It's bizarre, but I'm glad it happened.
And then, do we go to the diner after that?
Yeah,
I'm a bit sketchy
likely.
on where we go throughout this entire film, but also I'm not going to watch it again to find out.
Yeah,
and neither is the internet apparently, because you can't find like a full plot summary for this film. But we do meet his janitor friends, one of whom I think before this we find out that the FBI agent that like finds the dead body is corrupt and working for some bad dudes or whatever. And then we meet his janitor friends, one of whom is like an aspiring rapper,
a dirty rapper.
Yeah, and then that aspiring rapper is in the bathroom of the video game agency, I assume, meant to be cleaning, but he's actually practicing his rap. He says, "I kill you with a plunger. I pull your heart out with a plunger," which I love that he rhymed plunger with plunger. The FBI agent comes in. And then he's like, "Oh yeah, shoot me. That'll be great for my street cred. Like, you know, if I'm dead, I'll be like coma. Tupac." And he's like, "Put it in my butt. Put it in my butt," over and over again. And the guy just walks away. And that is
And then in classic comedy, another person walks in while he's saying "put it in my butt."
Yeah.
And there's confusion.
Yeah. And like the explanation for why he's doing that isn't any better than any assumption anyone could make walking in. So usually those jokes are like, "Oh, you know, you're out of context so you don't get it." But the context is I was held up by a corrupt FBI agent and I asked him to shoot me in the ass. Like, it's not a better situation.
That's terrific.
So yeah,
I love that.
Top character.
I love that so much.
We do meet Lucy Liu, who is probably the best in this film.
She's the best character in the movie.
I remembered another woman,
far.
the one that runs the gate at the video game agency.
Oh yes.
She's quite good too, I guess.
Yeah, she's quite funny.
But yeah, Lucy Liu is definitely, I think, the best character in this, or at least best performer in this.
Yeah. I mean, this was I don't know. This was just after she had that big run, which was in all these big films in like Kill Bill.
This is after Kill Bill. Okay,
after Kill Bill.
Can we just put that on the record? This film is after Kill Bill. This is after Charlie's Angels. This is after all of it, and that's disappointing.
Yeah, I don't know what. Maybe she lost a bet. Everyone in this film sort of seems like they lost a bet. Like even like Nicolette Sheridan, who played the wife, was from Desperate Housewives, which again was quite good, and then just sort of now she's in this weird film with a squeaking man and another man asking to put it in the butt.
Did you see the trivia that they wanted Elizabeth Hurley for that role?
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. That's a weird bit of trivia because, like, if you're making a film, you want the best people.
Yeah,
I'm
if
pretty
they're turning it
certain-
down.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? Who'd be good in this role? Clint Eastwood. I reckon he'd be great. Or like, you know, they said, you know who'd be good as the owner of the video game company? Jack Nicholson. But no, who did they get? Did you notice who it was, Richard?
Mark bloody Dacascos? Mark Dacascos of like every martial arts film ever made, or
and more importantly, the chairman from Iron Chef America.
Oh yes, of course.
Yes. And
Oh
I'm
my
just
God.
like, I recognize that face. What's going on here? And then I couldn't like properly work it out. And then I saw who it was. I'm like, yes, Iron Chef.
Well, he was
Brilliant.
fresh on my mind because I was listening to something else about John Wick 3. Have you seen John Wick 3? So he's
I haven't
like
seen John Wick 2.
Oh, get on it. He's the main villain in John Wick 3, and he's even camper in performance in that than he is in this, which is brilliant in a strange way. But yeah, strange. And admittedly, I did fall asleep during this film, so I had to rewatch the end. And the bit I missed was like the Mark Dacascos fight scene. It was like the best bit of the film, essentially.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, but you know, got to see it.
You did. Yeah, I think after the diner scene where you meet Lucy Liu is when they just ran out of how to make this movie go, because from there I just completely lost track of what was going on.
Yeah.
Even where they were, what they were after.
There's like the whistleblower friend that works at the agency. I don't really understand his purpose, but apparently he was working with Jake to find the chip, and then somehow that happened.
Then he was the boss at the end of it. He ends up the boss, and he's like, I'll give you a job in the video game company, which, you know, if I'm making video games, I didn't know the skills that I needed were martial arts and sort of weird tactics to get computer chips from bad guys.
Being able to beat people up with a mop.
Like, I thought you had to do coding.
No,
I thought you
wrong.
Oh, far out.
Nah, you need to be able to throw one of those like floor polishers across the floor. And you need to be able to imagine whenever women are doing anything, just imagine them that they're doing something sexy instead. That's what you need to make video games, apparently. As Cedric the Entertainer has proved.
And not just video games, but microchips good enough for the CIA.
That's right.
To turn into weapons. Yeah. So look, that's my thoughts.
Yeah. Look, Codename Cleaner. There is one more scene before we get to whether we recommend people watch it or not, which I think.
I think you probably got the idea.
Probably pick up on how we feel about it, but there was one scene that I had slept through that I saw on my non-sleep viewing. Was the Lucy Liu Nicolette show?
Nicolette, yep.
Fight scene that happens pretty much after the movie's done. Like,
yeah, I thought it was done.
They're
like,
wrapped
cool.
up, and she's just walking away, and they're like, "Oh, fight scene!" And of course, Cedric the Entertainer. I'm referring to him by his actor name because I don't think he's a character in this. He looks over and he sees them having like a bubble bath fight.
Yeah, in a hot tub.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's the symptom of the amnesia. Like, he had some fairly big flashbacks that were very realistic, making him slap an old lady on the bottom in an elevator because he thought he was in the war or something. And then the other part is he's seeing hot tubs where they aren't.
This film happened after Kill Bill. That's all I'll say. After that scene, this film happened after Kill Bill. James, would you recommend Codename the Cleaner?
Absolutely not. I'd recommend watching the Dutch dancing scene.
Yeah, I think we've got a clip of it in the intro for this. So
yes,
I think that's probably all you need to see is the quarter of a second glimpse of it. It's not a good film. I don't recommend it.
Not good. And just Cedric the Entertainer as I said, he's just squeaking through the entire film. It's so much just sort of. I don't know if you noticed it. Maybe my PC was busted and he wasn't making these noises. It just happened that when he was on screen, my PC was glitching out.
There's a lot of like actors saying what they're doing or thinking in this film. Like, oh, better get over here and better look at this thing. And then there's the crayon scene where he's writing out on a piece of paper. He's like, amnesia, and then draws a line to it. It has like question marks, like girlfriend or whatever he's writing.
And like big house, so he draws the house.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's right. A big mansion. Yeah. Pink underwear. Yeah, well, that's Codename the Cleaner. We don't recommend it. That was a film from 2007. But before we get on to the next film, we'll have a break here. And then we'll come back and we'll talk about There Will Be Blood.
Yeah. Can you make the screen pan over to the bin with
Cedric
clogs in it?
With Codename the Cleaner.
Clog-filled bin? Thanks.
Yeah, I'll transition to some sort of clog-filled bin that represents Codename the Cleaner. But before then, here's a break, and then we come back. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've traveled over half our state to be here tonight. I couldn't get away sooner because my new well was coming in at Coyote Hills, and I had to see about it. Ladies and gentlemen, if I say I'm an oil man, you will agree. I'm a family man. I run a family business. This is my son and my partner, H.W. Plainview.
You boys are a regular family business.
Now, you have a great chance here.
My son is a healer and a vessel for the Holy Spirit. He has a church.
And you will be cast up and thrust back to perdition.
I'm fixed, like no other company in this field. I have a string of tools ready to put to work. That's why I can guarantee to start drilling and to put up the cash to back my word. I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, no matter what the others promise to do, when it comes to the showdown, they won't be there.
There's a whole ocean of oil under our feet. No one can get at it except for me.
We'll offer $150,000 for full title.
When do we get our money, Daniel?
I look at people and I see nothing worth liking.
Don't bully me, Daniel, please.
I see the worst in people.
We have a sinner with us. Get out of here, devil!
I have a competition in me. I want no one else to succeed. I can't keep doing this on my own. With these, people.
Welcome back to That's Popcorn. I'm Rich. You're getting lower and lower.
Am I?
You're like Dickie Nee.
There we go.
Oh God, this chair is so noisy. Apologies. So the other film we watched was There Will Be Blood, Paul Thomas Anderson film starring Daniel Day-Lewis as Daniel Plainview in the year 1898. He is, I guess it begins with him in the process of dynamiting a hole. That's the plot summary I'm going to do.
Dynamiting a hole.
Sorry, am I talking about Codename the Cleaner again?
Yeah, that's right. Put the dynamite in my butt.
He's getting some ore. He's in America. He's getting some ore or some type of mineral out of a what do you call it? Is a mineral well? I don't know.
I think it's called a
cave?
mine.
Mine? That's the one.
A mine, yeah.
And he injures himself in the process, but then finds this valuable silver ore thing.
Yeah, it's some sort of mineral.
This is like the worst description of There Will Be Blood ever. Anyway, that begins this story of capitalism and greed and it's basically just about someone's
descent
greed.
into greediness and madness.
Yeah. So yeah, it begins with that. We then flash forward to Daniel Plainview having his own oil rig mine.
Yeah, he's got a little rig set up and he's pumping away. Which I'm watching that. I'm like, I don't know how this works. So good on him for doing it in 1904.
Right? Hard.
Like,
this is before the iPhone came out. There's an accident on the oil site. It kills one of his partners, who then leaves a child as an orphan that he raises as his own. HW is his name. He then is approached by Paul Sunday, played by Paul Dano, who tells him about a prosperous land of oil somewhere else for some money. And he goes out there, meets that family, also meets his twin brother, Eli. Hey, buddy. My dog is here.
Eli, hey, buddy, my dog is here. Sunday.
Eli, hey, buddy, Sunday. Also played by Paul Dano. And he, I guess it just, goes from there. What are your thoughts on There Will Be Blood?
It is a very tense film in that there's not a lot going on, but when it's going on and you feel like there's a lot going on. And I think a lot of that is to do with the score, and there's just sort of constantly sort of jittery and on the edge. What's going on? Oh, they're just digging more oil. I'm still nervous about it for a reason.
Yeah. It's got that, Paul Thomas Anderson seems to have a very keen ability to make you a little bit uncomfortable all the time in his films.
Yeah.
And I think this is probably the peak sort of I'm not really happy about everything that's happening, even when it's good.
Yeah. That's right. I mean, there's a scene where it's literally just people coming off the train into this small town, and the music is just so intense. I'm just like, this train's going to blow up. Something bad's going to happen. Nothing happens.
I remember
people
that
just
scene.
Get off the train.
Yeah. So Daniel Plainview is talking to someone. I can't remember who it is. Someone from the mining company or the railway company or something. And I remember the music, and I'm like, without music, this scene is just like a soap opera. I was like, it's not nearly as tense as it is. And so we probably should say that the music's done by Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead fame, and apparently couldn't be nominated for an Oscar because he reused some.
He reused some previous music from previous films, but I mean, Oscars, schmoskers, I say.
That's right. What was your favorite scene from this film?
I do think the scenes where the music is really pivotal really jumped out at me. Just because, I mean, I'm a sucker for Paul Thomas Anderson. I think what he does with music just, as you said, sort of elevates a scene from something that's just normal to something that's insanely gripping. So there's just people getting off a train and him having a conversation as one, and then the scene just before sort of the oil pump blows up, and then when it does and he's dealing with that, that's crazy. And then pretty much any scene where Daniel Day-Lewis just talks.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
This is his peak role, I think. I mean, I haven't seen Phantom Limb, so I probably... Phantom Thread. Phantom Limb's the...
Phantom Menace. Daniel Day-Lewis in the Phantom Menace.
With Ben Affleck. I haven't seen Phantom Thread, but I'm pretty sure Daniel Plainview is just an amazing character, and he just commands the screen whenever he's on there.
Yeah.
Which is all the time.
All the time, yeah. If they made this, I mean, interesting fact about this film is originally they wanted Elizabeth Hurley for Daniel Plainview, but they couldn't get her. They asked Cedric the Entertainer. He's like, I'd love to, but I'm doing this other film, which I think is
selling
Oscar buzzworthy. So I'm gonna have to pass. Going down the list, Daniel Day-Lewis,
Mark Dacascos,
give him a go. Yeah,
Yeah, and the plot was originally about finding a computer chip to give to the CIA. Something that really this is probably just very personal in a sense, not that personal, but like watching this, you can tell it's shot on film, which is like something you just don't see a lot these days, because we've all just moved to these like really, good quality digital cameras. Even like Roger Deakins, who shot a lot of films, including No Country for Old Men, which this is often grouped in with. Even he's moved to like digital and stuff with the latest Blade Runner. But you can tell like the everything's kind of vibrating, and then like the way the kind of light plays with the scene. So you see like the bloom from like the outside light kind of come around people and color them that way, and there's like a blue hue to it and stuff. And in particular, the scene with Paul Dano is like almost exercising the old woman, and he's like throwing the devil outside, and there's this really like beautiful sort of tracking shot back with him, where he goes from like inside this crowded area to like outside but alone, and it's just it's just so well done.
And actually, I think like it's easy to talk about Daniel Day-Lewis in this film, but Paul Dano in it is excellent as well. Like there's just an insane amount of emotion coming out of him. There's probably like 3 main scenes, and you're just like, wow, there's a lot going on here.
And he wasn't even meant to play Eli, I think.
Yeah.
He was originally meant to be Paul, and then someone else was meant to be Eli. I didn't find out who was meant to be Eli.
I think you know who I'm going to suggest it might have likely been. Elizabeth Hurley.
It's in the name. It's actually it was written for her.
I'd be interested to see what she was doing in 2007. That she had to pass all these films.
Was that when she was dating Shane Warne?
Yeah. Do you reckon Shane is the reason? She's like, I'm going to do this movie. I'm going to be in this movie called There Will Be Blood. And Shane Warne's just like, I don't think that's a good idea.
Mate.
That doesn't sound good. Can you put some more beans on for me, dear?
And he just spins a cricket ball. He's just always carrying cricket balls everywhere. So he wasn't even meant to be in this. Well, he was meant to be in the film. He wasn't meant to be Eli. And I think he had like a week to prepare, and Daniel Day-Lewis had like a year.
Yeah, like 3 years or something.
But he's great. He's so good. And just because I mean, I guess like to give context to the year, I think the biggest thing we would have seen him in would have been like Little Miss Sunshine, I think. This.
Absolutely.
And then all of a sudden he's in this, and you're like, oh, that boy can act.
Yeah. Except I did find it odd. Well, I guess not odd was a choice, but like, because the movie goes over quite a long time span. So you first meet him in 1904. I think the last scene is maybe 20 years after that. And he has not aged a day.
Is it that long on?
I think so, because HW is all grown up.
Yeah, but he would have been like, what, 10 or something? 10 or 12, and he could have been like 20.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 years.
So,
but yeah.
15, 20 years. And look, a lot has happened to Daniel Plainview in that time. Like,
that's true. He's sitting sad alone shooting his own things.
Yeah. I'd love to be old and crazy and just shooting stuff. That's like my ultimate dream, to have a big desk and I'm just sort of sitting there with a whiskey and I just shoot my vases.
So I'm sorry. So you watched There Will Be Blood and you were like, oh, wow, this is the life I want.
This is a role model for me.
Yep. I want to be sad and alone. I want to like disown a boy I raised for the purposes of just like expanding on my own greed. I want to be so consumed by this capitalism nature that I just don't let anyone in.
Yep.
But at least I can shoot my own shit.
Yes, that's right. Like, I can barely stand up because I'm such a drunk, but own a bowling alley in my house.
That's pretty cool.
So, I'll do what I need to.
Did Richie Rich have a bowling alley in his own house?
Of course he did.
So is this...
He had a McDonald's.
Is Richie Rich a prequel to There Will Be Blood?
That's a really good question.
I thought so. I thought that was yeah.
That is an excellent question, and I'm amazed it hasn't been asked before.
You know, we asked the hard questions on that.
Do you think
popcorn.
Because the book that this movie is based on is called Oil with an exclamation mark, which sounds like a musical, There Will Be Blood the musical. But do you think the original title for There Will Be Blood was going to be Richie Rich?
Richie Rich 2. Oh, I think there is a Richie Rich 2, isn't there?
Oh, there'd have to be. Yeah. Richie Rich also.
Yeah. If it's like the gritty remake of Richie Rich, does it then become the Richie Rich? Or like, how do you... Is it just Rich?
Rich. It'll be called Rich. Yeah.
Rich. It's great. I want to see that. With Daniel Day-Lewis playing Richie Rich as a child.
Yeah, he'll come out of retirement for that.
Yeah, totally. Rich, semicolon, phantom limb. I did want to say, I did want to have a bit of a whinge about, I don't know how you watched this film, but I watched it on Binge, the new...
I think I watched it on Stan.
So on Stan, did you get the full wide film, or was it cropped?
I believe I did. I don't think it was cropped.
So, like, one of the great things about this film, right, is that it's shot, like, in an anamorphic way. So they shoot it on... Someone's going to get mad at how I describe this, but they shoot it on, like, 35mm film or something and then stretch it out so that it's got, like, a wider aspect ratio.
I think you're more likely going to have people in the audience who hear anamorphic and think about animorphs. And like, okay, this movie's appealing to me even more now.
Is it anamorphic? Am I saying it wrong? It is, isn't it?
I don't know. I can't think of I can't think of anything that isn't teenagers turning into salamanders.
Anyway, it's shot on a teenager turning into a salamander, and then they stretch it out to this aspect ratio of 2.39:1, which is quite wide, right? And so you think 16:9 is what most of our televisions are, and so you would have like top and bottom black bars because you get all this extra. I keep making hand movements, but no one can see them on the camera because the square is so small. And so, so imagine this. This is how I watched There Will Be Blood. This is going to be terrible for people listening to just audio. This is how I watched There Will Be Blood, and this is how I meant to watch it. This is how I watched it, and this is how I meant to watch. And it was just so disappointing for a film that's like this particular about like, you know, like Paul Thomas Anderson's bringing his own like bespoke lenses to this and stuff, and like getting really particular about like the film stock he uses. And then Binge is just like, nah, let's get real close, fill up the screen.
Yeah, that's it. What's this black stuff? Something's wrong. Just zoom in. Zoom in,
mate. I want to see up Daniel Plainview's nostril. No, I hate it. I'm really mad.
That's upsetting. I don't like that you had that experience.
Yeah, and like I've seen it before, so it wasn't the end of the world. But like if that was my first watching of it, I'd be kind of like, you lose a lot, I think, in the film feel of the film.
Because you need those landscapes, because like where it was filmed, just it doesn't look like a nice place to live, but it looks amazing, just wide open. I'd be interested to see what it looks like now. And then I've just realized I did see what it looks like now, because this wasn't actually filmed in 1908.
But there you go. That's how they fool you.
Yeah.
So
they really got me.
I mean, like, 'cause they went to like extra efforts. So I was doing a little bit of reading about it because, you know, why not? But like Paul Thomas Anderson's particular around, like, he hates digital intervention, like, you know, too much color grading and adding CGI and stuff like that. So he goes to like extra efforts to pick like the right film stock and things to shoot this stuff on. And then there was a particular lens that he brought to it that apparently was made for like this really old camera that he used on Magnolia for some scenes. And it gives it that real sort of, a bit like you're watching like a film from the era. I think it kind of lends itself to that really well.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, when you compare this to Codename the Cleaner is so 2007.
It's so 07.
like, but this film is just sort of one of those timeless films. Like,
yeah,
it could have come out any year, and you'd be like, "Yep, this is it. This is a story.
This is a story.
This is a story." Yep.
This is
I didn't
a
know how to finish the
story.
sentence, so I said, "This is a story."
That was the first name for it.
Do you reckon the original version of the script was a musical? Because I can't see the book being called Oil with an exclamation mark. I can't see that not being a musical.
By someone
Exclamation mark is code for musical.
Well, the author's name is Upton Sinclair, which sounds like an Andrew Lloyd Webber like pseudonym or something. So I think you're onto something.
Yeah, I'd see it. I'd see the there will be songs. That'll be the little quote.
I've abandoned my boy.
That's the quote on top of the Regent Theatre.
Oh man, it would actually, it wouldn't be bad, I think. Except if you got Johnny Greenwood doing the soundtrack for that, it'd be the most like
it'd be the most
musical.
depressing, discordant musical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you probably need. You could get Midnight Oil because that would link in quite well. I think.
Get Paul F. Tompkins. Reprise his role. Expand out that character.
Man, his voice really stood out.
Oh, does it not? Why is Mr. Peanut Butter in this film? Why is Cake Boss in this? There will be cake.
Speaking, now that we've made some jokes about there will be cake, I do just want to highlight some of these bad reviews on IMDb of people who've hated it and some of the great gags that they've made as their headline. So you've got, there will be boredom, there will be disappointment, there will be unrelenting tedium. It's great.
People, they really latched on. I was listening to something about There Will Be Blood, and they were doing the same thing. It's just, it's
there
kind of
won't
hard
be
to,
blood. That's
Sorry?
that's very clever. There won't be blood.
There won't be blood.
That was a good one.
Is it?
And there will be no point.
Oh,
That's it's unfortunate. And then I like this one. It's, what was that insufferable buzzing in my ears? And this is a person who had to leave halfway through the film because they couldn't deal with the music.
oh, ouch.
Yeah, they missed out. Liriodendron really missed out on.
Don't give him a shout out. I'm going to bleep that out.
I don't even think I pronounce it properly, so that's fine. I can't work out if that's an L or a capital I, so it's a mystery, really.
It's a bigger mystery than what the point of this film is. Apparently, no, I quite enjoyed it. An interesting thing was I watched it with Natalie, and
yes,
she found the pacing quite slow, which I think is interesting because I think having it be a rewatch for me means like I'm anticipating what's coming up. So I was a bit more excited for like, oh, I know where this is going to go. But I did notice that like I forgot how quickly it gets to the end. Like you kind of trudging, but you're going through this film at like a moderate pace, and then all of a sudden, HW is getting married, and you're right at the end of the film.
Yeah,
essentially.
And it's almost like at the end of Boogie Nights, also by PTA, where there's a transition. It says, "Oh, one more thing," and it's just this sort of scene that's tacked on at the end, which ends up being an awesome scene. Does it need to happen? No. Does it tie the film up? Absolutely. It's one of the best things. Kind of like the hot tub fight scene in Codename the Cleaner. Both sort of got a similar thing. So look, there's more similarities than we originally thought between these two films.
I think so. Like they're both up there with, they'll both be on like Criterion collections for years to come.
Yes. One before the other, I think. I think it will take a while for There Will Be Blood to reach that
The
status.
crack in, yeah,
So,
because
yeah,
they reused old pieces of soundtracks. So they
yeah,
have
that's
to
right.
wait.
Can't do it. And someone's still reading through these reviews, just going, look, this person said there will be boredom. A lot of people said there will be boredom. I don't think it's right for the Criterion Collection yet.
No. Codename the Cleaner, though, fast track to the top. James, would you recommend There Will Be Blood?
I absolutely will. And I have. As soon as I watched it, I got on the internet. I tied a message to a bird and sent it out into the wild saying, hey, in case anyone's forgotten, There Will Be Blood is an excellent film.
There will be a great film. 10 stars. Yes, I would highly recommend this film as well. I would also recommend No Country for Old Men because that's a good film too.
Well, I think the reason they're joined together is because they were filmed in pretty much exactly the same place at the same time.
Yeah.
And apparently they had to stop filming No Country for Old Men because the fire from the There Will Be Blood smoke set was making smoke blow over. So that would have been a fun time. I reckon they all went to a bar afterwards. It's like, there's those oil boys again.
Oil boys.
there's those greasers. That's what they call them.
It became like West Side Story with Anton Chigurh and Daniel Plainview as the lead characters.
Yeah, the oil boys and the old men.
Oil boys and the old men. Yeah, I'm into that. I want to see that film made. The Coen Brothers, PTA, collaboration, make it happen.
Yep.
I think that's... Yeah, I recommend There Will Be Blood. You recommend There Will Be Blood. I don't recommend Codename the Cleaner.
I don't recommend Codename.
What else have you been watching, James?
I have been watching because after this film, I started reading about Magnolia again because that is my favorite film. And then I was reading reviews of that, and then it led me to another film called Yi Yi, which is a Korean film. No, it's not. It's a Taiwanese film. My bad. That's just sort of about a family just dealing with their lives. And it was great. And there's so many just sort of little nuggets of little quotes in it where it's yes, I can apply that to my life.
How old is this film?
It came out in 2000.
Oh. Nice.
And it's been it made all the best films of the decade list. And I'm I've seen this cover, the DVD cover before, but I don't know anything about it. So watch it. And bonus, it's on YouTube.
Oh, what?
Yeah. I was looking through all the streaming services. I'm man, I can't find this film. And then just Googled how to watch it, how to download it, whatever. And then it's yep, here it is on YouTube.
Check it out. If you're watching this on YouTube now, pause this, watch that. And then
it goes for 3 hours.
And
so
watch
come
the
back.
last 30 seconds of this.
What have you been watching?
We finished up Umbrella Academy on Netflix. We had previously watched the first 4 episodes, I think, of the first season, and then just kind of forgot about it. The second season, I think, is a lot better than the first. I'm not sure. We kind of just powered through it.
I think that show's a lot of fun, if nothing else. I love all the musical cues. It's we're going to fight scene, better put in a weird cover of Bad Guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it's every time it happens, you're what is this song? And then there was one that came up towards the end, and I'm I looked it up, and I'm it's actually Gerard Way's new single.
Oh, yeah, sneak that in.
Just sneak that in.
Yeah, subtle as a packet of Skittles, that one.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I kind of question does it do anything new, or is anything it's doing, is it not done better elsewhere? So the quirky sort of dance sequence stuff, does Legion do that better, or does the family of mutant stuff, does X-Men do that better or something? The answer is no if you look at the more recent X-Men. But I don't know. It was fun though. But we also watched, if you're looking for a film, we watched The Wailing, which is a South Korean film, like a horror film that keeps you guessing. Yeah, very good film.
Is the baddie a big whale? Because man, that'd be a spooky like soundtrack for a horror film. Just a just turn around. There's a giant whale head behind
buzzing or whatever it was called. No, it's not about a big whale. Although the host, which we have also watched recently, which is guy who did Parasite's earlier film.
Yes.
Can't remember his name, but I will type it in and put it in an overlay here. Yeah. That is more about a giant whale than this one is. But yeah, The Wailing's kind of like sort of like a country town, local police officer dealing with people that are running wild in almost a zombie style way. And there's lots of like possessions and things, and it's very dark, but it's good.
Is it a new film?
No, it's probably about 5 to 10 years old, I think. I want to say. But the subtitles kept kicking out when we were watching it, and I had to keep like reapplying them. And so at first I'm just like, why? Is this just like information we don't need to know? Or is this something they just said? And then I'm like, man, they're talking for a long time.
Like when it comes up down the bottom, it says speaking Korean. Like, thanks. Awesome. Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers for that.
It's like a subtle dig. It's like download Duolingo.
Yeah, how about just wasting your life with movies? How about you learn something, you clod?
Yeah. So yeah, that's what we've been watching. This has been a podcast, I guess. Sure.
It has.
This has been. Sorry.
We can call it that, I think.
Yeah. Well, this has been There'll Be Blood from 2007, and this has been what else has it been, James?
This has been Codename The Cleaner from 2007.
And guess what? That's Popcorn. I was really giving you a lot of time to join me there.
Yeah, I know what you were doing.
God, you bastard.
You're a good solo artist. I like it.
Shit. That's Popcorn. That's Popcorn.
We were allowed to swear in this?
I can cut it out if I want. Shit's not a swear anymore. It's on bloody commercial advertisements.
Also, I just found one last review, which will be perfect for this. There will be ham.
There will be ham. That's Popcorn.
That's Popcorn.
That's Popcorn. Bye-bye. Oh, that's a different thing.